check-in happens in here. So when we check in, Josh is gonna navigate the household size. So it'll be corresponded on the paper already. He's gonna write the name of the client and then whether or not they get a food pharmacy box, which we'll talk about in a sec. And then the papers will be like perpendicular to the pile there. So you just grab the one on top, you call out the name, they come here, and then you get started. So what I do is I typically, once I get behind the double doors here, I introduce myself, and then I ask, how did you get here today? Try to be careful in the language, like, did you drive? Might not be the best question. So how did you get here today is really important, because then we're gonna figure out how they're gonna get home, how their things need to be packed. Did you ride a bike and you need bags that can like go on the handles, or did you push a cart and you can only fit things in that small cart? Like, it's just important to know the logistics. And then I have the client push the cart unless they need assistance. So the biggest thing we want to do here is create just like a space of autonomy. We want folks to be able to grab the things that they want, be able to navigate it like they're going to a regular grocery store. It's really important. I grew up going to a lot of food pantries where you just go to like a dark corner in a basement somewhere and they give you a box and then they ask you to join their religion, and we don't want to do that here. So we get started with the cart, have them push. If they need support, you'll support. And then the way we have all the shopping set up is through these like dotted lines. So it starts here working around in a horseshoe, and each dotted line changes the section. And all of this math will be done for you depending on the household size. So you don't have to like make any decisions. You just follow the paper. It's very straightforward. Yep. So the first section is the dairy miscellaneous fridge. This changes all the time. As you'll see right now, it's not very full, but folks are allowed to take one thing. If you see sticky notes, that's gonna explain what is one choice. So sometimes we'll have like individual yogurts. So 4 of those yogurts would equal one choice. The list will always be in charge. Sticky notes override the list. And I'll explain that a bit further. Then frozen produce, same thing, one choice. What I like to do is just explain what we have and encourage folks to choose what they want. So today we have apricots, green beans, peas, corn, and spinach. They'll grab what they need. Clients are allowed to say no to things. They don't have to take things, especially if they're trying to pack light. Maybe they're not going to use the product. It's totally fine. Always a good idea, especially in the produce area, is to maybe answer questions about what a produce item is, how we can use it. We do our best to post recipes, and we also have recipes available at the recipe table. Those are really helpful, especially for things that maybe we don't use all the time. The only swapping we can do is a little bit down the way, and I'll explain that. We have to be pretty firm about the sections just because the availability to each product is very different. Fresh produce, this is typically an area that will have a lot of notes. Like right now, 2 squash is one choice. I'm sitting on a lot of squash. Apples we always have a lot of, so 2 bags is one choice. To go back to the food pharmacy box, there's a food pharmacy grant that we've received from the Monroe County. It is for folks within certain zip codes in that district. This is in addition to the distribution. So if this gets checked, we always have a cart right there where the wet floor sign is, and there will be a bunch of boxes. Everything's already packed in it. And on the handle of the cart will be a list of what's inside the box. We always put it up here too, because it's nice to see what you're gonna be getting in comparison to your fresh produce, because maybe you don't wanna double up on potatoes, or maybe you wanna build some sort of recipe based off of the things that you know you're gonna be receiving as well. So these are always good to point out. Right now we've been getting eggs, which is really cool. That's not an always thing. Next section is the frozen meat. So you'll notice on the smallest household size, it says 1 smaller meat choice. But then if you look at the larger household, it says 2 smaller meat choices or 1 large meat. So we'll be good about labeling and differentiating that. Right now, these 2 sides are small meat. This is large meat. We've been trying really hard to provide halal meat. The only thing that we can get right now are these 5-pound bags of chicken drumsticks. So technically that's a large meat. If someone from the smaller household needs halal food, we're gonna give it to them and we're not gonna ask questions. We were talking about the flips, like if someone doesn't want, how they can exchange. We can do that with this section. So if someone's not taking from the frozen meat, then we can increase their shelf-stable proteins, but we cannot do it in reverse. So just because someone doesn't like beans doesn't mean they get 2 things of beef. And the way that we'll do that is by choice. So if it's 1 small, they can have 1 extra thing over here. If it's 2 small, they can have 2 over here. So that's shelf-stable proteins. I believe it goes up to 2 choices for the larger households. This is our ever-changing, I call it the recipe table. So you came on a good day because Tuesdays we get a lot of produce that we have to push because we don't want it to go bad. All of this will be, I'll label it tomorrow. It'll be like, take 1 bag, choose 3 bananas, that kind of thing. So this is just, you follow what the notes say, read the sticky notes, and then we'll have recipes laid out. Folks can help themselves to that. Behind us is the Starbucks and miscellaneous freezer. So folks get 1 choice out of here, and it's good to know that nothing in here is halal. Next section is our hygiene products. We're working on getting more variety, but right now we just got hand soap and hand sanitizer. So folks get 1 choice from hygiene. And then this section is like pet food and home goods. They get 1 thing from out of here as well. This area we can be flexible with. I tell volunteers, follow the paper, but if someone is expressing need for more, then that's when you check in with staff or the float, because there might be an additional need that we can support. Like someone really needs hygiene products. They need more than just hand soap. They need, toilet paper, laundry detergent, body wash. Those things we don't always have, but when we do, we store them in the back and we have them available when people ask for them. Let's see, next. These 2 sections here are gonna be shelf-stable fruit. And then these 2 sections over here are shelf-stable vegetables. This is the only other area where you can do a swap, because within Food Link, fruits and vegetables are technically in the same category. We like to separate them to encourage variety. And you'll notice I put a sticky note that says max 3 of a type. You won't notice that with these 2 shopping lists, but we have the 6+, and it's like a lot. I forget the number, it's like 9 cans. I just don't want people taking 9 cans of peaches because that'll wipe us out in that kind. And then we'll just have like dried cherries. Same thing for vegetables, max of 3. And sometimes we'll have like small cans. So when we get those, 2 of them equals 1 can. We don't get these a lot, but when we do, we just label them separately. After that, we do miscellaneous. So miscellaneous is both of these sections combined, like it's 1 really big shelf. As you'll notice, we have a lot today. So tomorrow when we shop, we're gonna put out a bonus item. So instead of 1, everyone gets 2 things from over here. But that usually is just 1. And sometimes we'll see like condiments, spices, soup mixes, that kind of stuff. But today we're really pushing some pastries, and sometimes that's how it goes. Next is the grain section. And you'll notice on your paper, we wrote a limit of 2 of each type. Again, we're trying to encourage variety. We're really lucky to have a lot of variety right now. We've made some strategic decisions to get us some more things. So we're constantly having like good choices to choose from. Same thing over here. The sticky notes are good to read. Mac and cheese, 2 of them equals 1. So 2 of these will be 1 choice. Same thing with the pouches down there. And the continuation of the grains is the bread. So this will be continued to the grains. So if they get 3 choices, it's 3 from this entire section. This is nice because it really is, you just follow the paper. The most important part, I would say, is how we're bagging, how we're supporting the client at the end, because we don't want to just give people a bunch of stuff and then they go get on the bus and the bags break and then they're, out of luck in that regard. So on a day that we're full with volunteers, we typically have at least 1 person over here as the bagger. On a busy day, a great way to navigate flow is you come over here, you check in with the bagger. If they're not supporting a client, you can warmly pass off your client to that bagger. Say, thank you so much, like they're gonna help you out. and then the bagger will finish up, take them to their car, or give them to someone so that they can get to the bus station. This helps us be able to then immediately go grab someone else and get them through quickly. Thank you so much for your support and interest in our program here in the food pantry. If you're interested in helping out, it's really important that you come to a training first. We do have a one training set up through SharePoint, so check that out. They'll be running on Tuesdays for the rest of the month of January. Moving forward, we'll set up quarterly trainings as well. If neither of those work out, you can always reach out to myself or Josh and we'll set up a training for you. The best way to learn is really by doing. So we'll have this pre-conversation and then we'll get you shadowed when the pantry's open and we'll get the ball rolling.